Hey everybody, Julie Murphy here. We're going to chat about debt today. Why? Because I think I know that debt is the thing that causes the most smoke and mirrors for each and every one of us. Who have any kind of debt instrument. I don't care whether it's your mortgage debt, your car debt, your student loan debt, credit card debt, debt to family members, you pick it. Credit card debt, right? All the above. They're all payments that you have to make tomorrow based on choices that you made at the time that you took out that debt. And what it doesn't allow us to do is it doesn't allow us to actually live in the present moment. Does that make sense? Let me say that again. When we have debt instruments, now, financially, you might say, well, but my mortgage is at 2.89% and it's tax deductible. And yes, all of those things are true. Those are all very, very true. But here is my point, is the fact that if you have a debt payment, you have to go to work today to pay for yesterday's choices. And what that does is it doesn't allow you to live as much or be as nimble with what you want to choose in life in the present moment. Which actually, what's the ripple effect of that? Do you know what the ripple effect of that might be? The ripple effect of that is you created a leaky container of your own personal empowerment because you're not coming from a place of being empowered. Often when people create debt, I find that couples tend to do big remodeling projects, or they're going to upgrade their house, or they're going to get the better car because now their income is higher. It's usually just systemic of something else that they're not willing to feel in their life. And they're getting short-term emotional satisfaction from creating an environment that they love and they remodel their house, or the bigger house for their family, and everyone's all excited and everything, but underlying, there's still some stuff rumbling under the surface from an emotional level. And or just think about it from a simple perspective. How about in December when everyone's spending bunches of money at the holiday time and you have a spending hangover on your credit card come January? Like you're all happy, go lucky, and then and the marketers know it. Like just this past Christmas, I was going to get these pair of Nikes for my boyfriend's daughter. And I was like, there is no way in hell I'm paying $350 for a pair of Nikes. Not doing it, no way. So I didn't do it. And then here in January this year, 3 weeks later, I was able to get them for $150, $200 cheaper. The marketers know that we get all happy and excited and all logic goes out the door around the holiday time because of the way people feel. But what we miss as individual consumers is we miss how is that in alignment with your current reality? And are you creating a trap or a financial prison for yourself because you're taking on this debt? You might be able to pay your credit card debt off every time it comes. But even if you're taking that cash flow and paying for that, what else is the price to pay for that when we're not creating the awareness? More often than not, what I find what debt creates is debt actually creates a container that doesn't allow you to actually feel your feelings of what's going on actually in your life, whether it's something in your relationship, something with not liking your job. Let's talk about the job for a second, because one of the things that I find very, very, very common is that people are like, I don't know, I'm doing all this spending. When you have those high incomes and you're working a ton and your life is not balanced, you're spending money to try to create happiness, buying extra purses, extra vacations, everything, because you need that to balance out how hard you're working. And maybe daily, maybe you don't want to work that hard. People's spending always goes down when they stop working that crazy job that's got so many demands on them. They always spend less because they're not trying to make themselves happy in another respect. So the question is to look back as what actually is the reality that you're not willing to feel? Because the only way to the other side to sustainable happiness is feeling your feelings that are trapped inside your system. You'll note from many of my videos that I talk about that our subconscious mind, our amygdala, is fully developed by the time we're age 7. And Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about it in his book, The Biology of Belief, and he's got lots of videos on it, that our subconscious mind is the operating system that's operating 97% of the time that we're responding to the world. And so when we apply this to our financials, if you grew up in a house of scarcity, or even I find this even with people who have trust funds, like you're not in touch with the reality of how to generate the money to pay for what you've got. And debt instruments are the biggest line of baloney that each and every one of us bullshit ourselves on. And I don't mean to sound so crass, but it's so true that we need to actually look at what is the motivation behind creating the debt? What's the motivation? What is it? So it's important for you to actually look at your reality and say, and it might be sobering, and it may bring up some feelings and saying, you know what? Like I could sit here and look at my life, divorced, 4 kids. I'm responsible for all of their private grammar school, private high school, private, or not necessarily private college, but college costs, 100% on me. Their dad doesn't participate in any of it, right? So I'm halfway done in that journey in getting that. I could sit there and be like, oh, and just BS myself. But instead, I'm not going to create debt instruments or even have that leak over into my kids having debt instruments with college funding. I'm making decisions today so that I'm not creating these spending hangovers, not only for myself, but also for my children. And sometimes that takes tough choices. Sometimes it takes that when your kid goes to school, maybe you're choosing a school that not only has the options of where the kid wants to go, but also that they have huge endowment funds, so you have lots of scholarship money, but also doesn't put your kid in debt for the first decade of their adult life in $250,000. Like, what is it? What is that foundation that needs to be set to create the reality that you truly, truly want to have? Because I don't know anyone that doesn't get excited about the day that they pay off any of their debts, whether it's car debt, house debt. And how do you shift that financial energy? If you have questions about your debt or any scenarios below, type it out. Happy to help in any way, shape, or form. But this is about you actually stepping into life to live in the present moment and make choices from a place of empowerment as opposed to with debt instruments that naturally just put us in a place of disempowered. Look at what's happening in the United States. The national deficit. It's debt. At some point, that will catch up if not addressed. You cannot just keep creating debt. You can't. It's about living in the reality of what we collectively have created and we individually have created. I tell the story all the time that I noticed in the 08 and 09 recession. When my clients that worked for General Motors, when they went bankrupt, it was like, how interesting. The finances of the company matched the majority of my clients that actually used to work for General Motors. Because we as individuals, financially, do not take a different person to work with us. How we run companies is the same way we run our own individual stuff. How we run governments is the same way we run our individual stuff. So we have to be mindful of what is this reality that we're creating. And we really need to start to step into our empowerment as opposed to bullshitting ourselves that debt instruments are healthy. Because It pulls many, many, many people, the majority of people, out of their personal empowerment. If you want some help to really putting yourself where you want to be, join me. I'm doing a 6-week course on helping people get to a place of financial empowerment. And not only empowerment in your money world, but also in your career, personal life, and your health and wellness. Because we deserve to have this amazing life that is just filled with abundance of not only money, joy, happiness, good health, and lots of love. So come join me. We'll put the link below, 6-week program. And by all means, be part of the community at juliemurphy.com, because sometimes it's hard to do it by yourself. Come join the rest of us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell. Why? Because let's financially heal the world. Let's get her done. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.